Hey everybody, it's prime time. Welcome to the show. We're about to get started here. A couple things up here at the top. First, I want to say, let's see here. Who do we got? We got JD over on YouTube, Dadalorian over on YouTube, Laura over on YouTube. YouTube. We're doing it. Oh, I got to send out the text message. Here comes the text message, everybody. Stand by. Phones in hand. Wait for the moment for a text message from me. There we go. Let's see if anybody shows up now. All right. Man, it is a hot one today, folks. It's about 90 degrees in the office here, so we'll see. One of these days, we'll have some sort of, cool sort of medical issue go viral here at the top of the show, or maybe at the end when we're out of breath. A quick couple reminders. We're still out here. We're still out here, hat in hand, looking for members of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. If you could find it in your heart or your budget to help us out with an hour of babysitting every month, that would just be so splendid. And we're still in need of 30 or more of those people. You can head on over to canarycrysupply.drop.com, canarycrysupply.drop.com, or follow that link that is in the text message I just sent you, and sign up. And in addition to then receiving the Canary Cry Supply Drop every quarter, you will also receive for one time only, the coolest Canary Cry News Talk t-shirt that is in existence. So that's a cool way to do it. Plus you get a little jingle. You can move the thermometer up on the Canary Cry Babysitters Club thermometer featuring the king. So go try that out. You can also leave us a voice message over on canarycrynewstalk.com. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab somewhere on the page, on the bottom or the right-hand side, most likely. Click on that and you can leave us a message. You can give shout-outs to people, give me compliments on really whatever you think would make me feel good at the moment. You can also leave a pre-show prayer, sort of most importantly. It's a great way to get involved with the spiritual producing of the show. Leave us a prayer that we'll play at the top here. Set things off with the right spiritual posture. So go do that. We're doing pretty good. We had one every episode for quite some time there. We do not have one today, though, so there is room for those who want to get involved with that. Again, go to canarycrynewstalk.com, look for the green tab, click on the green tab, and leave us a message. All right, folks, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it, baby. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is July 26th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 649, and today, Genetic Scribes. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena, genetic sorcery.
Genetic sorcery.
Pay attention. Pay attention to the themes: biology, biometrics, genetics, the frailty of humans and sharks. Just pay attention.
Yeah, emergent phenomenons. It's one of these strange things that happens in the world, especially when you're dealing with large amounts of data. These patterns will come out of nowhere and give you some insight into perhaps the meta narrative being played out in human history. And what did you just say it was?
Genetic sorcery?
Genetic sorcery.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. All right, Gons. Well, we got a great show today. Both you and I are we might as well be podcasting from saunas, because it's extremely hot. It's extremely hot in my office, as per usual, off the grid here, and it's extremely hot in your garage there, with minimal movement of air and maximal insulating properties. So that'll be, if you sense any sort of primal pain or something, it's because we have both trapped ourselves in little hot boxes, and we'll continue to do that at least a couple times a week. So, Gons, I think it's time we give a disclaimer to the YouTube people.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, and let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right. Of course, today we have got to start out with the malfunctioning android that is Mitch McConnell. You may have heard about this, you may have not, but once in a while, the robotic overlords that have been ruling us for so long need a software update. We'll be talking about Mitch McConnell's display this morning. Also this morning, we will be touching on the UFO congressional briefing or hearing or whatever, putting stuff on the record. We'll talk about what happened then and what happens next. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And we'll be checking in with Flippy. Flippy's made out of Legos, but don't let that fool you. Flippy is taking DNA origami into the next level of technocratic dystopian future. So how will our DNA be folded into beautiful cranes without the help of a robotic arm? Then CRISPR making a comeback. Well, we won't call it a comeback because CRISPR is here to stay. Gons has a nice dive into the newest, most popular, least productive CRISPR company in the world, and we'll see what that has to do with the historical goings-on when it comes to genetic therapies. Then we'll be checking in with the beast system, of course. Worldcoin. Canary Cry listeners were the first to know about Worldcoin, also the first to laugh about the orb. Well, it has all begun, folks. The orb is here, and you shall kneel before the orb and receive your Worldcoin. And if you think that's a joke, we will show you just how long the lines are. Then at the end of the show, cocaine sharks. That's all. That's it. Just cocaine sharks. All right, Gons, lead stories.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified. Aliens. Aliens. Aliens.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
We're made by the aliens. Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the rage. People can't stop talking about aliens. Oh, we forgot about Mitch, though.
Yeah, that's not the first one, but that's okay. We can go out of order if you want.
Well, let's do the aliens, because
okay,
everyone's talking about,
all
Mitch.
Right. Gotta talk about the aliens. Let's go. I mean, who knows? Maybe the aliens and Mitch are related.
I think it is related. So for anybody who's catching up, AP News, whistleblower tells Congress the U.S. is concealing multi-decade program that captures UFOs. And, of course, the moment of virality was when Miss Mace speaks with Mr. Grush. And Mr. Grush he's been one of the 2 or 3 whistleblowers who have been very vocal the last several months. So it's nothing new, but it's just, happening in a hearing. So it's all official now.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I mean, the headline that you read is a great headline, but it's missing one word, and that word is again.
Right. Well, here's the exchange, about a minute and a half. We can stop it whenever, Basil, you have a thought or a comment.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you.
Specific, double specific.
Super.
Yeah. Right on target.
Super specific. That should have been the name of the show today. Yeah. So this fella, this guy's been kind of at the front of in front of the cameras at least, for quite some time. It's really interesting to watch how no matter what is going on in the news, there is always some undercurrent of, but aliens though. Aliens.
Where are the aliens?
And for those who've been following it closely, you'll already know this part. But just in case somebody out there hasn't been following this whole thing so closely, this fella in particular, Grush, he makes a lot of these pretty impressive claims that have been the realm of conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hatters, these types of people for so long. They were called crazy, they were called quacks, they were called everything, and now it's in Congress, Gons. But every single piece of information that Grush is giving, and this is I'm not trying to say anything but a fact here, but the fact of the matter is every single piece of information he's giving is third hand. He's every explosive new detail about biological non-human species piloting the craft.
Biologics, not biological. Come on, we got to get with the times. He said biologics.
Is there a difference? Is there a difference, or just like it sounds more congressional?
I think it
if
sounds.
I say biologics.
Biologics is not
more
in
like,
the cultural milieu. Biological.
No, obviously, it's like a military term. I think biologics, the way he uses it, I'm assuming biologics is like a department that comes out when there's biological material to come analyze it or collect it or whatever. So the point is, look, this guy worked for the government. He knows people who worked in these programs, allegedly. But everything he's saying is just something some guy told him, which, for the true blue UFO nerds out there, that's pretty suspicious. I mean, we always got to keep an eye out for, the ways information are being delivered to the public. A leak, whether it's a leak from a whistleblower or a controlled declassification or some sort of mix of both. I think there's a very high probability that this guy was given information by some operative to put it out there, start this whole movement. We really are watching a pretty impressively controlled disclosure with this whole thing. Does that make sense? I mean, there's so much suspicion that I have about the way this guy is putting out this information, because it's too good to be true. Honestly, it sounds too good to be true, and it all came from a guy that he knows.
The AP article here mentions that there was bipartisan interest in Grush's claims and a more sober tone than other recent hearings featuring whistleblowers celebrated by Republicans and criticized by Democrats. Lawmakers in both parties asked Grush about his study of UFOs and the consequences he faced and how they can find out more about the government's UAP programs. It's always got to be couched in some kind of social justice type of thing. That's always been the interesting thing about the whole alien UFO thing. Like, oh, they're being ostracized. It must have been hard to keep a secret, like the whole LGBTQ conversation.
Say that again. What is the social media angle at this?
Not
social justice.
Social justice. Sorry. Yeah. The consequences he faced and how he can find out more. The consequences he faced. Yeah. In his study of UFOs. Just people in that world being mistreated as like, oh, you're just lying or you're just sensational or whatever the treatment of those people were. That becomes like a point of, oh, we must do something about it now because people are offended and we can't have anybody offended. People
listen to a victim, baby.
So it's always interesting when there's any kind of political bent. But, I mean, everyone on Twitter is celebrating the aliens have been confirmed. And I just, that's part of the op too, just to see the reaction. Because, every reaction now is being scanned by AI. It's being refined for the next thing. And so it's interesting. And I was reminded of the documentary that we have linked in our show notes. At the top of every episode, we have, the episode name and the title and the episode date and everything. And in that big chunk of links, we have a bunch of stuff. One of them is a resource to a documentary called Aliens and Demons. It featured the late Dr. Michael Heiser. And he, early on, I think it's like the first 20, 25 minutes of the film, he's there talking about the cover-up of the Nazi scientists here in America and making that into, in the public, making it into, oh, it was UFOs or aliens, with the Roswell crash and everything else. And then specifically to the bodies, the claims about the bodies that were seen at Roswell in 1947, Dr. Heiser presents the theory that most likely it was people that had a certain, I forget the name of the disease, but they don't grow, they have larger heads, and there's a certain profile of people and prisoners that were even taken, from their prisons to military bases for experimentation and things like that. So, but that's humans, and now what is it? 80 years later, we know genetic research and all that has gone quite far. And so while the public may be led to believe that this is aliens, however you define that to be, I think it's interesting how there's, according to this guy, whether it's a psyop or not, or lie or truth or not, is claiming that there are non-human biologics, which it can be anything from a rabbit.
I was going to say it could be a squirrel.
Yeah, it could be a squirrel.
The UFO hit a bird.
Just, the UFO landed in some cow dung, and you have non-human biologics. Or it could be black goo, on the other end of the spectrum, like sentient goo that's, you touch it and it speaks to you and whatever. So, I mean, that's where I think the psyop is. It's like, get everybody thinking it's aliens, whatever the implications are, and see how the people respond.
Well, yeah,
because it can't be much else other than that, and of course maybe some kind of disclosure, but I don't know. Even the disclosure seems to have an agenda behind it that's not good ultimately.
What bugs me? What bugs me about the way that this is happening is every UFO obsessed person for the past 10, 20, 30 years knew disclosure would happen sometime. We knew the government had things they weren't telling us. We knew all these things, the non-human biologics, they were coming. And how exactly would disclosure happen? That was like a big topic of conversation and content for definitely most of our careers. I'd say probably all of our careers. Yeah, but there's a lot of attention paid towards, okay, how are they going to disclose this? What, will it come in little bits and bytes? Will there be a UFO that lands at the Super Bowl? Where this was always a fun.
I'm still waiting
topic.
for L.A. Marzulli's, mile-wide UFOs over every large city in the world. And everyone freaks out. That would be it right there.
It's the Independence Day disclosure, right? So this could happen. It could happen, but I think what bugs me about this disclosure is not only are we not, they're taking the opportunity to disclose. Okay, this is a big moment in human history. They're disclosing the possibility or the existence of aliens, whether it's interdimensional, interplanetary, intergalactic, whatever. This is it. This is the moment. It's happening. Oh my gosh, very interesting. But there's no evidence at all. It's this very crafty sort of trick that's being played, which is we just have to take not even just Grush's word for it, but Congress's word for it.
Right.
We're just taking everybody's,
since Congress said it must
media,
be true now.
Yeah, the media's word for it. We just have to take their word for it. There is no, they're not bringing in an alien head in a jar to Congress. They're not bringing in a piece of metal. They are presenting absolutely zero evidence, and yet they're getting to disclose alien life. It's they're getting their cake and they're eating it too.
Well,
it's not fair. I want to see aliens.
Especially with this Grush guy with the beginning of the question where he's like, I can't talk about that. And then he kind of just says some of the stuff, non-biologics, it's like, okay, I thought you can't talk about it. I think what's happening too, partially, is there's disclosure taking place for sure, but it's disclosing the disinformation apparatus within the ranks of our intelligence agencies and infrastructure and our military. That's because we know that lower levels get a certain narrative, and that maybe that's the narrative being allowed to be projected out there now. But ultimately, I don't know. There's some agenda here, and it's not. I don't think it's a good one. It's got to do with surveillance. It's got to do with a lot more about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with aliens or extraterrestrials or any of that stuff.
Right. I mean, it's being disclosed in such a controlled way that's it's actually very impressive. Sometimes you forget about how impressed we should all be with the federal government's ability to just bore the pants off of anyone who's trying to hold them to account or to know what's really going on. The fact of the matter is, it really is the magical power of the occult cabal of politicians who, are secretly dark wizards who are ruling the world with their magics. It truly is an impressive magic to make the disclosure of aliens the most boring possible thing to watch.
Well,
and I truly think that is like part of the magic of it. I mean,
lulling people to sleep, kind of like making it boring.
How impossible should it be to make disclosure of aliens this boring? So certainly when something is that boring, the government is up to something. That's the trick with keeping your eye on the federal government, is the more boring it is, the more sinister the plan.
Yeah. And
it's always been that way.
Right. Well, it definitely shocked somebody in Washington over there.
Yes, it did. Let's check in on old Mitch for a second.
Now suck your blood. Politics. Your blood.
Yeah, this is coming from, what do you got, the NBC News one? Yep. Mitch McConnell escorted away from the cameras after freezing during a news conference. Now, somebody texted me this morning. They were like, well, you seeing the UFO stuff? I'm like, yeah, I've seen the UFO stuff. Actually, I hadn't seen it yet, and they're like, oh, you see Mitch freeze up during a press conference? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Mitch freeze up on a press conference, not yet. And it sounded so boring. Why would
typically
I want
Mitch
to search out
Typically
a clip of Mitch McConnell, an 81-year-old man,
81
pausing during a press conference. But you actually watch the video, it is extremely strange. Let's see what NBC had to say about it.
A regular Senate ritual interrupted today by 19 seconds of silence, quickly turning to concern for the health of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who appeared to freeze up as he began his weekly news conference.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. There's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
just staring. Staring.
His fellow senators, including John Barrasso, a medical doctor from Wyoming,
you want to say anything else to the press?
Eventually helping the 81-year-old McConnell away from the podium. Returning moments later, the Senate's top Republican shrugged off a reporter's question about the moment.
I'm fine.
You're fine, you're fully able to do your job?
McConnell, who in January became the longest-serving party leader in Senate history, has suffered a serious...
I thought it was... Look, same day Mitch McConnell glitches out, UFOs are disclosed to Congress, et cetera, et cetera. Look, I'm sure he had a lot on his mind. I think it's interesting to note he was talking about we're just wrapping up the NDAA. Got to get that NDAA filed for next year. And of course, those who have been paying attention, the NDAA is like, I mean, the single document, this probably the single most powerful document that is confirmed every single year to single-handedly or single-documentedly, strip away freedoms of individual citizens, put power into the hands of the military-industrial complex, siphon wealth from the lower classes up to the tippy top. The whole thing. It's all collected under this one document. Again, that is so boring. They do it every single year. I mean, the last time the NDAA was interesting was back in Obama's era, when when the government took over the internet, basically, and yet something in this NDAA, when he started talking about how bipartisan is what it was, and we're going to do so good, something just short-circuited. I like to think that it kind of something in his mind, he flashed in his mind to something like particularly awful that they put into this NDAA, and he kind of just got lost in a shame spiral. That's my first guess. Second guess, he's a robot.
Wow, nothing in between, huh? So you got the real.
Well, I mean, there is the mini stroke thing. Everybody's talking about the mini stroke thing, which is possible. But I mean, come on. What is he, out of adrenochrome or something?
Maybe cocaine Mitch. I thought my initial reaction was maybe that he had like an accident, like a situation there. But obviously,
a doo-doo?
Yeah, you'd probably be able to see that, right? So it didn't seem to be that.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. It was a waist-up shot.
Yeah.
And, he's wearing that dark suit. Could have been a doo-doo.
Well, according to NBC here, they called it a ritual, and they mentioned the 19 seconds of silence, which is kind of an interesting number. Of course, according to some esotericists, 19 is the number of enlightenment because it can collapse into 10, which is like the number of completion, which also collapses into 1. And so I guess you're number 1, bro. You're enlightened Mitch. Enlightened Mitch. Yeah. That's what they call him. And that's what it was. That you saw on camera a man reaching the Buddhist, the Zen enlightenment, just silence.
Reach nirvana right in front of us.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. It really was, really is one of those things, kind of spooky when it happens to somebody you know. But when it's a politician doing it live on camera, it's definitely entertaining, of course. I wish no ill on the human form of Mitch McConnell. But apparently he was back at his old grumpy self. Just took him a second. They gave him, just had to unplug the router, wait 30 seconds, plug it back in, reboot. Like you said, maybe a shot of some sort of medical intervention. But certainly there will be, oh my gosh, just so much talk about Mitch McConnell's mini stroke. I mean, within 10 minutes, there were long articles comparing Mitch McConnell's mini stroke and Fetterman's stroke issues. And it's like that's always what gets me. Within minutes, they have a full breakdown about why, you should be a Democrat because Mitch McConnell's stroke, and why Fetterman's stroke was no big deal. And can we just get over the culture war? It's like the ammunition for the culture war was just ready and raring.
It was part of it. It was in the memo as a bullet point. Like, he's going to have a stroke on TV, or just, something's going to happen. It'll draw a lot of attention. Just have it ready to go.
Do it on UFO Day. So
Hunter
everybody,
Biden Day too.
Yeah, Hunter Biden pled not guilty in his trial. A big surprise, and it's going to trial. So in order to take away some of the heat off of aliens and Hunter Biden, it's amazing
Mitch,
how
we
much
need you to freeze up, buddy.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the media is able to focus on an 81-year-old man being silent for 19 seconds. And that's more interesting than, aliens landing and the president's son going to trial. It's just a wonderful world that we live in.
Yeah, well, just another typical Wednesday here.
It's true.
In the Canary. Wild.
It's true.
Wild
Typical
world that
Wednesday.
we live in. Yeah, definitely. Come on, Wednesday. Are you there, Wednesday?
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Yep, it's Wednesday again, folks, and man, is it a scorcher, Gons. We're doing it though. We're here, and we are committed. We will podcast from the surface of the sun whenever it is needed. I wanted to give a heads up about the email that went out today. If you're on our newsletter, which you probably should be on our newsletter, we send out a little alert to the email list when we are about to go live, and it'll tell you where to catch the show, when to catch the show. But not only that, there's also art, and all the sources for the show is in that email. And today there was the flyer for Malaya, the daughter of our beloved Canarian producer, who, as far as I am still alerted to, is still missing in the Washington area. Today is her birthday. And so I popped that flyer into the email, and I'd like to encourage everybody to go check your email, search your spam box, wherever you're getting the emails from us, and copy that flyer. Just, right click, save image, send it to your friends, post it on social media, or just forward that email to just everybody. Let's continue to get the word out about, when a Canarian is in need, the Canarians show up, and that's what we're doing. So go do that. Any notes on that, Gonzo?
I don't think so. Just continue to pray.
Indeed. Yes, of course. Always. Anything interesting going on in your life, Gons, that we just must know about?
Other than trying to make sure that we can do episodes at a reasonable hour.
It has been difficult for so many reasons.
Oh, man.
Not just the babysitter reason, although that is part of it. But, man, I'm just... it's just that time, folks. It's that time of the summer where we're hanging on by a thread trying to keep the show going. So we appreciate everybody getting involved producing the show.
Yep.
Speaking of which, if there's nothing else, I think we should thank our executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. Executive producers. You heard me right, because we're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels. No, we're entirely funded by listeners of the show, like you, people who get value from this show. They know that the show can only exist if they put value back in. It's the circle of podcast, and you can participate. And when you do produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure, you're a producer of the show. And the executive producers, they come in generously for any individual episode, and that's why we like to thank them at the top. And today's executive producer, everybody, all rise for executive producer Sir Igorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs.
Sir Igorius.
He's back, and he comes in with 222.
222. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Sir Igorius. Great to have you back. He does send a little note, short note, says, I'm back. Smiley face. Sorry, rough year so far. Igorius. Yeah.
Yeah, rough
Has
rough
anybody
all
else
around.
noticed? Has anybody else noticed that this year is an extraordinary, difficult year? I think that's just sort of a thing going on right now.
Yeah, it seems to be the thing. It's like a personal mini pandemic spiral after effect, for all the people. It's just things got so shuffled around, and then trying to get back on their feet. It's just
the amount of little mini apocalypses that have been sort of showered on all of us for the past few years. They're starting to take effect. We're 7 months in now, and I can easily tell you that this has been the most difficult year in quite some time. For me personally, Gons, I think you'd agree for you. And sounds like we're not the only ones. So if nothing else, Sir Igorius will be praying for you, and know that we are with you. We're all in this together, folks.
Yep. I'm melting down. What you don't hear in the middle of the night, I cry out, waking up from a nitmare.
Can't deal with it right now, Basil.
Just can't deal with it. Man, that was me about 10 seconds before this show started. Okie dokie. God is good, and that's it. We have one executive producer for the show, which is total win. So thank you very much, Sir Igorius.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Sir Igorius.
Yeah, I will say, just since we have some time here at the top, I will mention Gons does not have yet a new babysitter.
We're getting ghosted.
For so many reasons.
We're getting ghosted by some people. It's
ghosted.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That's a
babysitter
thing, right?
ghost, like they're not showing up for their job.
Well, no, you start like a conversation and then
interviews,
and then you just they just stop responding at a certain point. It's like,
do you think it's because they're getting scooped up? They're getting
It could
scooped
be.
up
It
by
could be.
other jobs.
Maybe.
That's probably it. You got to move fast on those things.
I guess.
Which is why we are so grateful to the Canary Cry Babysitters Club.
Yeah, if somebody can help me figure that out, that'd be fantastic too.
What, the Babysitters Club, or
just actually
to play?
to get the babysitter.
Well, we've had plenty of Canarians offer, but you know what I think would help you, Gons?
Yeah.
If you played the jingle.
Oh, the babysitter jingle.
Canary Cry Babysitters Club.
That's right, the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. You can join. All you're doing is committing 1 hour of babysitting cost per month. And, we needed originally 42 people to sign up. We were down to 33. I think it was last episode. But I do have good news, Gons. We do have one more Canary Cry Babysitters Club member. Now, this is somebody who signed up for the supply drop at canarycrysupply.com. Not only are you going to start getting the supply drops every quarter, but if you sign up in the next 32 people now, you'll also get the best Canary Cry News Talk shirt so far. It's just an incredible treasure that will never exist again. And if you're not already in the T-shirt club, then you're not getting it. But you can get it if you sign up to the Canary Cry supply drop right now to help pay for babysitters. But we have a new one, and I want to thank very much new member of the Canary Cry Babysitters Club, producer Kenneth P.
Kenneth P. Thank you very much.
Very much, Kenneth P. I appreciate that very much. You'll be receiving all sorts of cool stuff, and that's one more. We're one closer, Gons, to paying for that babysit.
Nice. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, indeed. And go to Canary Cry Supply Drop to sign up. One of these days, when I have just like 1 second to breathe for once, I'm going to make another URL that you can use that will be much more clever and catchier. But for now, go to canarycrysupply.com. Okay, I think it's time we get back to the show, unless you have something else to say.
No, I have a flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It's the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from interestingengineering.com. The headline is Robot Made of Legos Produces DNA Machines. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine, folks. We've got a robot made of Legos producing DNA machines.
I'm for the
now,
robots.
the fact that this robot is made of Legos may lead you to believe that, maybe DNA machines is not what it sounds like. Maybe it's something, that could be created with a robot made out of Legos. Well,
yeah,
let me tell you.
Like a laser light.
Something, just something easy. No, this robot is making DNA machines. A team of ingenious bioengineers at Arizona State University, that's ASU, has harnessed the power of childhood nostalgia, unveiling a creative solution to a long-standing challenge in DNA origami research. They've successfully employed a Lego robotics kit to build an affordable, highly effective gradient mixer for purifying self-assembling DNA origami nanostructures. Were you a Lego kid?
I had Legos, but I was never into it as much as some of the kids. I remember at school, you'd go to their house and they got the one I was really jealous of. They had the whole Death Star and the whole Star Wars set. I was like, oh, that's really cool. The Millennium Falcon and everything. I was jealous about that. But other than that, it's always been a thing. But now, man, you go to the Lego store and you can spend hours looking at all the different pieces.
I can tell you're not a Lego kid specifically because of how impressed you are with the actual things you're supposed to build. Now, if you were a Lego kid, you'd say, I went over to my friend's house and he had a giant bucket that was bigger than my whole body and it was filled with Legos, and we built a little Guantanamo Bay detention center for our Lego friends. Mm-hmm. That's the real,
different eras, different circles.
Yeah. There is a Gen Z, I think it's like an elder Gen Z sort of I don't know if it's phrase, I don't know, idea of Lego boys. Some women are looking for Lego boys, and it's a boy who played with Legos, but it's more indicative of some sort of builder
like
type,
engineering mind or something, some kind of
minds, creative type of person. It's like it's a category.
I think that's the propaganda for the company Lego, and especially they didn't have Legoland when I was a kid, but they got that now, and so every kid goes to Legoland.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of thing, But yeah, I say that whole narrative is propaganda to get more people buying Legos for their kids.
John, why do you gotta dash my dreams? I finally have a Gen Z thing that I can relate with.
You were psyoped, bro. You were psyoped. Just let it go, man. Burn the Legos in your backyard. Just put it into a big trash bin and watch it.
Yeah.
Burn?
I've said this
Nope.
before, and, I've talked about prepping in all sorts of different forms. And of course, you want to have a little bit of precious metals. You want to have your food stock. You want to have everything. But the thing I'm most proud of is I still have my gigantic bucket filled with Legos from childhood. Legos are, I forget what the actual comparison was, but it's something like by weight, Legos are more valuable than gold. Do you know this?
I did not.
Have you ever bought secondhand Legos?
No, I have not.
It's extraordinarily expensive.
Really?
Okay, back to the story. There's some Lego facts for you while we talk about this. They've successfully employed a Lego robotics kit to build an affordable, highly effective gradient mixer for purifying, self-assembling DNA origami nanostructures. This innovative breakthrough, detailed in a paper published it says one, I think it means on, published on PLOS One, promises to revolutionize how scientists approach DNA origami synthesis. The creation of DNA origami structures is an intricate process requiring precise purification of nanostructures. Traditionally, this purification step involved rate zone centrifugation, relying on a costly piece of equipment called a gradient mixer. However, the maverick minds at ASU have demonstrated that even the iconic plastic bricks of Lego can be repurposed for scientific advancement. Picture this: a Lego robot with its colorful bricks intricately assembled into a single arm contraption. They could have just said Flippy, but okay. Atop a simple base. Don't let the playful appearance fool you, Gons. This ingenious robot holds the potential to change the DNA origami landscape forever. And what is the DNA origami landscape, you ask? I have no idea. But it does say, let's delve into the workings of this Lego marvel. And it tells us about how the robot's single arm deftly guides a platform where cylindrical tubes filled with the DNA origami material can be securely attached. But before spinning magic happens, the tubes are positioned vertically and capped to avoid messy mishaps. Whoa. Once everything is in place, the robot initiates a graceful, slow spin, coaxing the material inside the tubes to blend seamlessly into a gradient. So there you go, Gons. If you've ever wanted to purify DNA origami nanostructures, all you got to do is go into your garage, go into that box that you haven't opened for decades, take out those Legos. You knew this moment would come, Lego boys. You knew this moment would come, where the only way to survive the ravaging effects of climate change and nanoplastics in your body was to build a robotic arm with Legos and set the transhuman future free of the and Minecraft.
Live audiences missed that. I missed that. I don't know what you said, but hey, I'm sure.
Oh no! Another great reason why you got to listen to the podcast RSS feed. You, dear listener, listening on your iPhone, on Apple Podcasts, or a different podcast product, you're the only one who heard what I just said, and we're going to make everybody remember that forever. Just a quick roundup here. The results of their tests were as impressive as the creativity behind it. The Lego robot proved itself on par with its expensive commercial counterparts, efficiently mixing and separating the required materials. What's more, this DIY DNA origami purification kit came at a fraction of the cost. Do not give the actual cost. But there you go, Gons. When it comes to lab equipment, the scientific lab equipment industrial complex that has had its shackles on our dear Lego boy scientists, they're being shattered in the name of economics, but also I hope that some of these scientists, Lego boys, are able to get dates now because of this very specific achievement that we are very proud of them for. I think it's also a strange insight into the economic facade of robotics, because one of the biggest issues that we're having, and this is what I think subconsciously is being communicated by the robotics industry with this article, is one of the number one, if not the number one, obstacle to putting a robot in every house, having robots roaming the streets, living life for us, so we don't have to bother, or simply them taking over as sort of militarized overlords, is that they're too expensive. The robots are too expensive. People scoff on live television. News anchors are scoffing at Flippy because he's too expensive. He's $100,000. Who can afford that? But I think there's a messaging aspect of, hey, there are robots, yes, that are extremely expensive, but some of them can be just made out of Legos. So don't let that stop you from imagining a future where robots are spinning your DNA into origami nanostructures. And so you can give up your sort of genetic sovereignty for the good of the community, mostly the robot community, but you'll get some good social justice points for it. What do you think about my theory, Gonzo?
It's all right. Can it swoosh the wine as well? Just as much as the DNA? DNA in one hand, the wine glass in the other?
Yeah,
really
I
the fusion.
We could do a little search right now. I'm not going to do it, but if there's not already a sommelier Flippy arm, that is coming very soon.
We need let's do it. Canary.
Let's do it. Make it out of Legos.
And make it out of Legos will be economical. Yeah, I think you're right about some of that. I think the part of what interests me with the idea of Legos in general, when I first started talking about all this crazy stuff on the internet publicly around 2011, talking with Doug Hamp at the time and discussing the image of the beast and everything. And part of the conversation was that we're at the point now, and this is when we're starting to realize, how much of the genetic age is coming and how much of an impact it's going to have and how much it sounds like what happened in the Bible, back in Genesis 6 and the flood and everything else. So the analogy was that we are basically playing with the Lego blocks of creation or the Lego blocks of life. And so there's this kind of spiritual psyop, if you will, with the product, the corporate product Lego, and then to capture a whole generation and then to use that nostalgia to I don't know, re-enchant a generation into their youthful desires or youthful dreams and imaginations, kind of like the Tower of Babel. And everybody has a lab in their home with a Lego arm that does things for them. You just got to, and you know what it's going to be too? The product isn't going to be necessarily the arm itself. It'll be the software. It'll be the info. Like, oh, you want a sommelier Flippy? Here's the brain, all the knowledge we've gathered from 20 million hours of sommeliering the wine.
What was the Flippy software that was getting put out? I think it was by Google. It was like Cat GPT or something.
Oh, I forget the name.
They were selling a software product that was artificial intelligence specifically for robotic arms. It disembodied robot arms, which of course doesn't make any sense at all. No, I think I'm totally following. I like the Lego, again, the psyop of the whole thing. In this case in particular with the DNA origami, whatever, nanoparticles, it is interesting. DNA being sort of the Lego blocks of life. And then you use the Lego blocks to make the Lego blocks create some sort of human animal hybrid. And then, the end has begun, whatever it is. But all right, there you go, folks. That's your Flippy update for the day.
Good times. Although we need to play this ISO more from an old film.
Stop this progress before it is too late.
Feels like it's already too late, though.
That's right. I do real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
I want to implore everybody who's watching live, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, give us that like, share it out, do the thing. You got to do it now. You must do it now, or else the Lego Flippy arm will do it for you. And we do not want the Lego Flippy arms thinking that they can come on to our stream like our video. That's for humans. So if you're on the side of humans, go ahead, give our video a like right now.
So speciesist.
Yeah, I'm like Elon.
CRISPR. Cas9.
Yeah, not too far of a connection from all this flippy talk and DNA stuff. We have an article here from Forbes.com, and the headline: "This scientist is building custom gene editing tools and stands to make billions."
Billions.
He's our next billionaire, Basil. Who is he? His name is Benjamin Oakes. We'll learn about him here. In 2013, Benjamin Oakes was hell-bent on getting his PhD while working on the bleeding edge of molecular engineering, refining a gene editing tool, CRISPR, that promised to someday cut DNA as precisely as a pair of scissors. There were two leading research groups at the time. One at the University of California, Berkeley, led by future Nobel Prize winner Jennifer Doudna, who we've covered many times over the years. The other at the Broad Institute, jointly run by Harvard and MIT, and Oakes was vacillating endlessly between them, which is how he found himself one day in Doudna's house, part of a gathering of promising students being considered to work in her lab. There he met David Savage, and we've talked about David Savage before too. Then a professor at Berkeley who had just started his own lab focused on engineering proteins like one used in CRISPR systems. Oakes had interviewed to join Savage's lab too, but in a more relaxed setting, they geeked out over the potential of new tools in the space accurate enough to essentially cut a function from one protein and paste it into another. Not long after, Oakes solved his career conundrum. He joined both labs, where his research focused on improving the gene editing potential of CRISPR by making protein engineering tools more customizable and controllable. And so this guy, his Benjamin Oakes, he's on the cover. Again, 34 years old. He's got luscious hair. I mean, beautiful curly hair. Almost like they're profiling the next billionaire here. And we'll get to more here. 10 years later, he's applying that work in a company he co-founded with Doudna and Savage, Scribe Therapeutics. The company is building a biological platform of customized gene editing tools to tackle a wide range of hard-to-treat diseases from ALS to cancer to sickle cell anemia. It's backed by over $120 million in venture investments from major firms like Andreessen Horowitz and OrbiMed. And it already has partnerships with major pharmaceutical companies, potentially worth over $4 billion. So they're almost the chosen ones. And I think it's interesting that they have this young guy as the face. You know, he's sort of the face of the whole thing after his 33rd year and turns 34. Now he's ready to make his big public stance, get a little feature on Forbes. But he's a guy, you know, using the technology or building the technology, building the platform. He goes into business with Jennifer Doudna, the Nobel Prize-winning CRISPR lady, and David Savage, this other guy who's part of the Berkeley team, who worked at this other lab, and now they have Scribe Therapeutics. And I just want people to be aware because, you know, part of what we do here, we identify certain things before it becomes a thing. And by the time it becomes a thing, we just scream about how we covered it, you know, a year or 2 years ago.
WorldCoin.
Like WorldCoin, yeah.
We'll get into the WorldCoin thing. Honestly, never mind. I'm not going to interrupt. Keep going.
Okay. So,
yes, if you want an example of why sometimes we bring these weird, obscure movements in different industries, it's because they inevitably become the most important thing in the world.
Yeah, and given the situation that we've, you know, all the things we've learned in the last 2-3 years, it's not out of the question to consider a world where we have a climate catastrophe or some kind of disaster or something that happens where we are basically government mandated to take some kind of CRISPR or Scribe Therapeutics therapy gene therapy to withstand some kind of whatever, changes that are happening in the atmosphere that changes our genetics and blah, blah, blah.
You need your genetic therapy that'll teach your body how to excrete all the microplastics that are killing you right now.
Right, and withstand the new levels of radiation or whatever it might be, whatever excuse they're going to have. But basically, they're kind of being set up as perhaps another kind of Moderna, although Moderna didn't actually have a product until COVID. In this case, they seem to have a product, and that's kind of like the tools to get all this stuff going. But also, let me continue on with the article here because there's more. Oaks, 34, is already working on the next generation of the technology, meaning CRISPR. His company uses a different set of proteins for CRISPR systems called Cas-X. X everything. I mean, X, just everybody got the memo. You have to have X in your thing or you're not going to make it. So Cas-X that were discovered by Doudna's research group. Scribe had developed a platform with Cas-X it calls CRISPR by design that enables the company to tackle multiple types of diseases. Its primary focus is enabling gene editing therapies to be delivered directly to a patient in vivo instead of removing cells from the body, editing the genes, and returning them. For example, the Vertex treatment for sickle cell involves removing stem cells from patients' bone marrow, editing them, and returning them to the patient after they've undergone chemotherapy to eliminate the non-edited stem cells. Cas-X proteins offer a lot of advantage to developing medicines compared to Cas9 systems, says Dr. Joshua Modell, assistant professor at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine who researches CRISPR systems in Nature. Quote, they're smaller, which makes it easier to do certain kinds of applications, says Modell. Additionally, Cas-X proteins may be more selective, meaning they're more likely to only impact the part of the DNA that's desired. There's lots of activity in the CRISPR startup market. According to PitchBook, some $3.3 billion in venture capital has flowed into the space since 2019. There's 19 again. 19 seconds of Mitch McConnell, 2019, 3.3 billion. So there you go. You got all the numbers there. You got the X in there. You got the Nobel Prize winning lady in there. You got a new superstar, Mr. Benjamin Oaks. It's the whole package.
We've seen this kind of thing before. The setup for the genius scientist thing. I would say Sam Altman, although maybe not necessarily scientist specifically, but Sam Altman was not really known at all back a few years, at least to the general public. We were covering influence person for a long time, but he wasn't in the mainstream news as like a name that anybody would know. And, you just kind of look at these guys, you see where they're being positioned. If they got the long, luscious hair, that they're getting ready to a couple more years until they're a household name. So will you give me the name of the company, the name of the product, and the name of the guy one more time?
Okay, the guy's name is Benjamin Oaks, Oakes. The company is Scribe Therapeutics, SCRIBE Therapeutics. And, I don't know the exact, name. Well, Cas-X,
they have a name for the product.
is like the proteins they're using or whatever. But
okay. So it's kind of interesting. The guy's name is Oaks, which is kind of not unusual, but sort of, oak trees are sort of spiritually relevant in many different ways. You've got Cas-X, you've got the X in the product. Yeah, which is just a part of everything going on right now.
If you're going to be on X.com, you have to have X in your name to be considered one of the features.
You've given breakdowns of X as a symbol throughout history and its use in the occult and its whole thing. X, maybe a newcomer might not have all of the context for that, but just trust us, it's a big deal. And then you've got Scribe in the name of the thing. It's like very sort of weird esoteric collection of details that is sort of ripe for sort of mainstream media attention. And I'm just putting it in the book right now. I think we'll need to get a genetic upgrade to get rid of the microplastics in our body.
Yeah.
Whether that's oaks or not, maybe it is, maybe it's not. But Clank, if you could put that in the red book, we're going to have gene therapy to get rid of the microplastics. And maybe it's this oak fella. Who knows?
It's possible. Well, let's continue onward and get into something that...
the orb!
The orb!
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
Oh,
the
man.
orb is here for Forks, the Forbes. Oh, gosh. The orb is here. We've been screaming about this orb since 2021, at least.
Yep.
You have a note here. Episode 357. Is that the first time we talked
357
about?
was titled Sam I Am, like I, like, EYE, like the seeing I.
Yes.
And we covered it with, let's see, where's the links here? Yeah, WorldCoin to scan eyeball for crypto, Bloomberg back in 2021. And then we also covered Sam Altman, $10 to, quote, kill him and preserve his brain in Mashable 2018. And then Sam Altman, look at this one, VentureBeat 2015. AI needs to be regulated. He's been set up as the guy to bring AI regulation for a decade, but nobody really knew his name until this year with ChatGPT.
All right. And we've been screaming about the orb. The orb. It just sounds so, again, this weird futuro-esoteric. It's almost religious in the way that this orb is. I don't know. I have nothing to say. Just is. It is kind of bugging me that other sort of outlets like Business Insider,
every outlet,
are obsessing about, they're all kind of taking the same shtick. This is in Business Insider's headline, "Behold the orb." That's their headline.
That we were probably, we could have done "Behold the orb." That would have been
"Behold the orb." Okay. So let's see here. We have a clip here. Now, let me say this, Gons. When we first were discussing WorldCoin, it was in the just right smack dab, sort of in the middle of the death of crap coins. The crypto apocalypse of the 2021 era.
Actually, I think we were talking about it during some of the peak. 2021 was the peak year, so it might have been because this article
was peak year.
It's peak year, so I think everybody was talking about crypto, and it was all people were buzzing because it was still sort of the bull market. Instead of one big peak, we had a peak and a dip and a peak.
Yeah,
but
so Sam timed it perfectly,
right?
Then. So because this is when he came out with weird little articles. Suddenly, these strange little articles start popping up about some guy's orb and how this guy's orb was going to save the world. And how was it going to save the world? Well, it was going to scan every human's eyeball and put it into a giant database on the blockchain.
Right.
And this was going to be great. And of course, those with eyes to see and ears to hear are like, oh my gosh, is this man the Antichrist? This is crazy. The beast system has awoken. The man who shows up with an orb implores you to look into the orb. And look, we have fun here on this show. We talk about the orb and Sam Altman and his religion of blockchain. I gotta be honest, Gons. I did not think that WorldCoin would make it this far.
Really?
I thought it was so
ridiculous,
stupid.
Yeah.
He literally has a basketball-sized chrome orb with an eyeball on it that you look into, it steals your soul, and he gives you cryptocurrency for it. Like, out of all the things that could have possibly come to fruition, we are on the timeline where the Orb Man's project went through. And this comes as a surprise to me. We talk about a lot of stuff. Not all of it comes to fruition. Usually it's the most ridiculous ones that don't quite make it to the mainstream. But WorldCoin is here. The orb is all.
You might have been out during this time, but I think we reported on the $100 million funding round that they got. Like, it was like a month or two ago when they announced it. So that's when I knew, like, oh man, they're getting ready to really launch this thing.
Right.
And
sure.
we'll see, you know, how big of a thing it is, but obviously it's going to capture the imaginations.
We've seen, especially for the past few months, WorldCoin has been gaining attention in the media. This exact day is not the one taking me by surprise, but I am surprised about this clip that is going around from Sam Altman, posted by Sam Altman, of people waiting in line to look into the orb and get their digital ID from WorldCoin.
Right. And
I don't think there's any sound on this.
There is, but it's
kind of trying to. I'm kind of trying to count. There's at least, well, I'd say maybe 200 people in this line. The line is going absolutely all the way around two sides of a city block. I'd say, 150 people, maybe 200. And somebody's taking this video, walking down the line with their iPhone, making it to the front of the line. And at the front of the line, there is a woman.
Is it a woman
kneeling.
Is it a woman or like a little boy?
It's a woman kneeling before the orb, before her new round overlord. You literally have to kneel, take a knee in front of the orb, look into it. It scans your retina, steals your soul, and they give you a literal digital ID. That's like the whole thing about it. The fact that you have to kneel down,
kneel before the orb,
pledge your fealty to the orb. I mean, this is what I mean. When I say, like, I can't believe it's this ridiculous. It is this ridiculous. It reminds me of Dune or something, I knelt before the orb and I looked into oblivion and the AI made me new, something like that. And it's just happening like on the side of the street. Not exactly sure what country this is, but it doesn't matter. Because originally with WorldCoin, his big thing was like, we're going to start with the villages in India.
Right.
And we're going to go into the villages of India.
Always humanitarian.
Have everybody kneel before the orb and pledge fealty to WorldCoin, and then they will have a digital ID, which is like exactly what they wanted and they need so badly living out in the jungles of India. So it is honestly, I'm making jokes because it's hilarious, but it is also horrifying the way that this is coming about. And if you think in the same way when we first talked about WorldCoin, the orb that you stare into, it doesn't matter if you think that the sort of esoteric occult leanings of things like this are real or have an effect or mean anything. It doesn't matter if it doesn't mean anything to you. It means something to these people. This man spent bagajillions of dollars. He could have made... He didn't need to do a chrome orb. He could have done anything. He could have just done a camera that scans. Could have been a box. Could have been a tube. Could have been a little Pikachu stuffy or something. He chose to spend the money to fit his scanner in a basketball-sized chrome orb, sort of reminiscent of some intergalactic, god robot who came here to harvest human consciousness to power some alien society, and now we're seeing that they're choosing to do it in a way that you must kneel before this orb as it scans your eyeballs and gives you some WorldCoin and an ID. It's the digital ID of the future, and it's all hooked into WorldCoin, a name that certainly gives the impression for a one world currency, which, of course, fits into all sorts of things we've been talking about. There's this Forbes article here. What is WorldCoin? Here's what to know about the eyeball scanning crypto project launched by OpenAI's Sam Altman. Do you have highlights in this that you'd like to do? Or I was going to give the top end here.
Yeah, let's do a little bit. I think we can.
Okay. Yeah. Worldcoin, the ambitious cryptocurrency and digital ID project spearheaded by OpenAI's chief Sam Altman, launched on Monday after years in development, promising to verify users' identity by scanning their eyes and potentially solving one of the more pressing problems posed by recent advances in artificial intelligence that have made it harder to tell whether something was made by humans or an algorithm. And right there, they have the worst parts, the clues to the worst parts of this. I think it's interesting now that WorldCoin is getting put in the context of solving the problem of AI.
Talk about problem, reaction, solution. Sam Altman literally went to Congress, had a hearing, presented the problems and then also the potential solutions as the guy. All the news articles talking about AI regulation references Sam Altman because he's been spearheading this conversation for at least pretty much 10 years.
He is probably more single-handedly responsible for the current AI obsession that the world is in. He put out ChatGPT. ChatGPT started scaring people. ChatGPT, like a good lizard person billionaire, he shows up a few months later with the answer to the problem the problem he created. It's crazy.
With an orb, with an eyeball scanning eye orb that you must kneel
in order to in order to solve the world-ending problem that he created. You must bow before the orb and pledge your identity to his WorldCoin project, an economic beast system that is almost like word for word out from the prophecies of ancient scriptures. Here's just some of the key points here at the top of Forbes. At the heart of the WorldCoin project is an eye-scanning orb. They put orb in quotation marks. They did not need to do that. It is a literal orb.
Literal orb, yeah.
You don't need to scare quote the orb, but okay. Which must be used in person and gives users a unique digital identity to verify they are a real human and not a bot.
Doesn't this also presuppose that there's just going to be a lot of robots walking around, like doing things?
Absolutely. 100%. That's what
because
they're saying.
If it's verifying humans, and to verify a human, it must scan your eye. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of non-humans walking around. So,
exactly. So of course they're going to use it for like online ID, online identity, and it could get. Elon Musk has talked about wanting to do this with X. Who knows? Maybe these guys will team up, and you'll use your orb ID, to tweet or whatever. They're all got the same goal, which is to give you a digital ID that you cannot separate yourself from. And on one hand, this is online. On the other hand, it's 5 years until there's robots walking down the street that are so convincingly human looking that you're going to need to scan their eyeball and see if they're real humans. Thank you, orb. Another key fact. A cryptocurrency which can be used once a user has verified their identity, and it's also named WorldCoin, and an app that allows users to make payments, purchases, and transfers with it, as well as other digital assets, are also key parts of the project. So the economic, honestly, slave system is a key part of the project. You're identified, you can never be misidentified, and you get into the economic system of orb. Orb is all. Orb is on high of this current beast system. After collecting more than 2 million users during a beta period, WorldCoin on Monday said it is now going to ramp up its eyeball scanning operation to 35 cities across 20 countries. We gotta get a list of these cities.
If we told you, I'm getting blasted by the sun again. If we told you 10 years ago that there's going to be an eyeball scanning orb that wants to verify your humanity and you get some
absolute crazy tinfoil hat, throw
and that
them in the clanker.
Forbes would announce that this company is ramping up their eyeball scanning operations. 35 cities across 20 countries. They would look at you and think, dude, lay off the drugs, my friend.
It is absolutely bonkers that we are in the timeline, Gons, you and I specifically.
Yeah.
That a joke that we would have told to 100 people, like 100 listeners we had back in 2012, 2013, we would have made that joke. And it would have just been silly. It would have been stupid. If somebody took us seriously, they wouldn't. Nobody would have taken that seriously. And here we are in a world. I'm currently looking up the list of 35 cities, Worldcoin, because we got to get some boots on the ground. Do not bow to the orb.
Hey, we are going to see. I think part of this also is you got to think about the opposition here. Someone's going to break one of these, and it's going to become a big deal. Some kind of vandalism.
Everyone's souls are going to spill out into the streets.
Something. But, I mean, with the amount of vitriol online of people pushing back, I can see this eventually
people were throwing the like bird scooters, you know, the scooters you can rent to scoot around.
Yeah.
People are throwing those in the river just because they... Okay, here's tokeninsight.com. Worldcoin to roll out 1,500 orbs in 35 cities globally this year. Let's see here. What are some of the things? Okay, if you're in Africa or the Middle East, we got them in Dubai, Kampala, Nairobi. Americas, Bariloche, Bogota, Buenos Aires, Cordoba, Los Angeles.
Oh, boy.
Of course. There we go. Gons, you have to go.
Oh, my gosh. Where is it? When?
I don't know. Just says Los Angeles.
I did see a picture of Ryan Seacrest holding an orb and staring into it.
I'm sure it's there now.
Ryan Seacrest.
Mar del Plata, Mexico City, Miami, Monterrey, New York, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago, San Francisco. They're going to be scanning all the poop on the streets with the orb instead of the eyeball. Sao Paulo. I think, let's see. Let's check Europe. Barcelona, Berlin, Bilbao, Lisbon, London, Madrid, Munich, Palma de Mallorca, Paris, Porto. I don't know where Porto is. It's everywhere. Warsaw. There you go. Got to get in Poland before Putin comes over. Yeah, so it's this is very interesting. If anybody is in any of those cities, please get us some video of the orb. Please, my goodness, you'll get a special reward for your orb footage. The WorldCoin cryptocurrency token has also been issued to eligible people taking part in the beta and is now tradable, the project said. Yeah. Several exchanges have now listed the token or stated their intention to do so, including Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume.
Yeah, on that point, real quick, that's kind of why the news got so big this week, is because the coin actually got listed on exchanges. But there's footage out there, and I was trying to look for it here, but I couldn't find it. I believe Sam Altman gets asked, or one of the people from WorldCoin, it could have been another guy, gets asked about the tokenomics of WorldCoin, and he basically says that he can't discuss it.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I thought, and if you go back to the 2021 article from Bloomberg, they'd mention here that
you were required to be transparent about your tokenomics.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the crypto ethos, is to be transparent about all the stuff taking place with your project. Okay, so this is back in 2021. Blania, this is the guy, the co-founder. Iris scanning is an essential part of the plan because it can help prevent people from trying to register multiple times to defraud the system. He's also aware of the privacy implications of handing over biometric information to a tiny startup, and said WorldCoin will make the process as transparent as possible, so users can see
when they're asked.
The users can see how the data is used. He said that the iris scan will produce a unique numerical code for each person, and that the image is then deleted and never stored, except your code will exist into eternity, and you must have the code in your iris to be allowed into this sports center.
It is pretty insulting that they think that in this whole wacky system that they have created to solve a problem they created, that the picture that it takes is like the biggest problem.
Right.
Because they repeat that in every single article. Like, don't worry, it doesn't keep the picture. It just turns your face into a code.
Trump, the spokesman for
eternally.
WorldCoin.
It's gonna be huge. Here's the last key point here. Alex Blan.
I just had a thought come to my mind. I will wait.
No, get it out because you'll forget it.
No, I'm gonna write it down. Continue. Finish your thought.
Wow, look at that. So polite. Alex Blania, who co-founded WorldCoin with Altman, said the need to prove a person is real is, quote, no longer a topic of serious debate in the age of AI.
What?
This is a quote.
Hold on.
That in order to prove a person is real is no longer a topic of serious debate in the age of AI, adding that WorldCoin hopes to build a privacy-first, decentralized, and maximally inclusive, a lot of great buzzwords there, way of addressing this problem. So there you go. I mean, they're just describing a system. You cannot do anything. It is settled. There is no debate. You must have digital ID, and you must bow down to the orb.
My thought, I was thinking about your Trump pitch of WorldCoin and the orb, and I think Trump is going to leverage his Truth Social. Instead of WorldCoin, he will come out with Universe Coin. And instead, it will be a gold pyramid. It won't be an orb. It'll be a pyramid, giant gold pyramid that scans
now
your hair.
There's something to bow down to, folks.
And then your Trump Antichrist theories come to pass.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. WorldCoin, it is on the move. It's happening. I cannot believe that it is, but it is. And if you are in any of those cities, specifically, I mean, the easy ones would be in the U.S., Los Angeles, San Francisco, places like that. But it's going to be all over the world. So no matter where you are, try to find this orb, man. Take some pictures. Let's get some more footage of people bowing down to the orb, because not enough people are screaming about this, I think. Unfortunately, there's more now that it's like become a thing. But this is, I mean, I'm joking here, but it is not also a joke.
Well,
it is very,
especially for nations that have it a little more, challenging with the economics and the currency and
right.
Those places. If a Western high-tech thing comes and wants to give you free money for your biometrics, then get in line.
Free money, bow down to the orb, free money, free ID. A lot of people and a lot of the places where they are originally talking about doing it, the jungles of India, the big talking point was like, this is for social justice because these people don't have birth certificates. They don't have identification, government identification. They don't have those things. As if those things would make their lives better. As if that's what the people in the jungles of India are begging for. Please give me a government ID. Please give me a digital. What do they need for digital ID? Anyways, there you go. That's the thing, and the technocratic dystopian future is barreling towards us, folks. So hold on, make sure to buckle your seatbelts, and but until then, let's take a second and thank some producers. Gons, what do you say?
Let us exemplify the model that is the value for value model.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
That's right. We're a value for value model, folks. You'll notice there's no advertisements, but it's not just because ads are annoying. No, it's there's a really deep conviction to not doing advertisements, because that in a literal sense and a spiritual sense and a metaphorical sense, and again, did I mention literal sense? It is us selling your attention. You give us your attention because you like what we have to say. And if we were to advertise to you, that is us selling your attention to a corporation. for our own personal gain. Could we make a ton more money doing that? Yes, we could. We could do that. But somebody's got to have some dang principles around here, Gons. And that's why we're on the value for value model, which means if you get value from what we do or say, you have the opportunity, perhaps even the responsibility, to put some value back in. Why? Well, because there is a tipping point where the show just won't exist without people putting their value in. So as long as, I say it all the time, not every person, not every producer has to produce every episode. But, as long as value for value rings true to you, you can participate by producing with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of different ways to get involved and add value to the show. You could help us out with some of our administrative tasks that Gons and I are so horrible at. You can create art and jingles and music. You can give us boots on the ground reports. There's all sorts of ways that you can produce this show. But you can also help us out with your treasure, and that's also extremely important. So we want to thank some of our producers here. I already thanked our executive producer, Sir Igorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs. Great to have you back, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
I did already thank Kenneth for signing up for the Canary Cry supply drop to help with the babysitting.
Thank you, Kenneth.
And we got a few more on the list here. Some names that we know and love, and some new ones. So let's thank them now. Okay. Starting with Lady Night Little Wing. Lady Night Little Wing is back. Comes in with a nice round number and a note here that says, "Flew in late, fellas. Got stranded in the Nevada desert."
Ooh.
Oh,
yikes!
That's not a good place to get stranded, especially right now. It's, what is it, like 1,000 degrees? EXO, Lady Night Little Wing. Thank you very much, Lady Night.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
And I'm glad you made it out of the Nevada desert.
Yep.
Next up, we've got Exit to the Light Zine.
Exit to the Light Zine.
Yes, it's been a while. I remember Exit to the Light Zine.
Yeah.
They were producing the show, I say probably 2020, 2021 time, but they're back. Wonderful. Came in for $41.08, and this will make sense in a second. Greetings, Exit to the Light Zine. I've been listening and enjoying every episode Basil and Gons has put out for years. Today, I turned 41 years old.
Hey.
I'm considering putting on a meetup in Seattle.
Hey, yes, do it.
So let's give a happy birthday to Exit to the Light Zine.
Happy birthday. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Yeehaw. 41. You're even older than Gons. Oh my goodness, Grandpa. Considering putting on a meetup in Seattle. We have a bunch of people in Washington.
Yes.
I don't know exactly where everybody is in relation to Seattle, but I would say you should do it. Let's put on a Seattle meetup. It's about time there is a Seattle meetup.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's a nice big group of Washington Canarians, and if we can figure out a reason to lure them to Seattle, that would be even better. Have you ever been to Seattle, Gons?
Yes, I have. Long time ago.
Okay.
I was a little child. I was there for a big swim meet, Western Zones.
Ooh.
I was 12 years old,
okay.
representing Southern California. Yeah.
I went there once. I saw the needle. I think I was there for like 6 hours on a
Did you
layover
see the
for
fish?
a flight.
The fish tossing?
Saw the fish.
Yeah,
I did all the things you're supposed to do when you go to Seattle. Mm-hmm. Saw the fish, went to the Starbucks, went to the Space Needle, got on a plane, flew away. Oh, Seattle's lovely. Okay. Yes, Exit to the Light Zine. I think you should do it. Pick a time, pick a place, let us know. We will tell the world and put it at canarycrymeetups.com.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, next up we have Rob. And Rob came in for $33 on a... Yes, Illuminatus Rob. Rob BBB. Build Back Better, Rob. Mm-hmm. Came in at $33 over on the Rumble chat. I forgot that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much.
That, huh?
Oh, you know what?
I'm starting to not be able to see my screen. It's so bright in here.
Yeah, you got to put up a thing, man. Get some blinds. Rob is in the chat over there. And you mentioned when we were talking about kneeling to the orb, he put the word techno-baptism, which I think is compelling.
Yeah,
that is a compelling. We got to remember that, especially for the orb. I mean, that's pretty dang close to techno-baptism. Thank you very much, producer Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Next up, we got M and Bobby coming in with $11.33 plus fees. Thank you. And they say, may these 11 loaves... May these 11 loaves and 33 fishes multiply in a biblical way. God bless you, brothers, M and Bobby.
Hey,
Amen.
Bobby, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, they've been coming up recently. Thank you very much. Yes, may all of these loaves and fishes from all these producers multiply in a biblical way. And honestly, it does. That's something about the value for value model, that the value that we put out, Gons, you and I, multiplies, comes back to us, and the value that people send into the show gets multiplied and given back to them. That's what's so great about the value for value model. Thank you, Em and Bobby.
Thank you.
Of course, we've got Sir Alex Protocol V2, Night of the Brian Protocol, pocket full of sevens, 196 episodes in a row.
Woo.
Wowie woo.
Thank you very much. Protocol.
And that concludes our list of financial producers who came in above the $7.77 mark. That entitles them to get a note read on the show. We got some people who came in under the 777, and we'll thank them now. They're on streaks. Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 325.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Veronica D, 287 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 314 episodes.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Dame Gail, Canary Whisper, and Lady of X's and O's, 286, I think.
Thank you, Dame Gail.
Sir Morv, Night of the Burning Chariots, 257.
Thank you, Sir Morv.
And Stopped by Grace joined the Patreon.
Stopped by Grace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stopped by Grace.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you guys so much for coming in and helping keep this show going. We totally understand part of what has made this year so difficult for everybody is the economic circumstances that have been created by the elites around the world. We've tracked it, we've watched it step by step. It is not that elites are making mistakes that are not benefiting people. It is that they are making the exact opposite decisions that would be benefiting people, regular people. And it does lead one to believe that when a group is consistently doing the exact opposite of what would be beneficial, they're doing it on purpose. And so we understand that this year, everybody has been, been victim to the worldwide economic sabotage of the working man, normal people. The ones who don't have reptilian eyeballs, things like that. So we understand that it's been a very difficult year for everybody and for us with the value for value model as well. But we're still here. And I'm absolutely convinced that we would not still be here if it were not for the value for value model. So if you're out there, you get value from the show, put some value back in. Remember, it's not all about money. You can do your time, your talent, all those things. And you can go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
All right, let's thank some producers for their talent. Help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. It's not just about the treasure. You can also come in with your talent if you have any kind of skill. Do something for the show. We're going to start off,
even if you don't.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, anything is talent. It's an eye of the beholder type of thing there. So
sure.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start with some audio production.
Audio production.
first piece, maybe only, no, first piece here, Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
He comes in with the note, Brando had a variety of weird stuff he said this news cycle. Here he is talking about how he cured cancer and wants to look at Elon.
Thank you for sending this in. Okay, yeah.
I cure cancer. He looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why we can. We end cancer as we know it. Look at it. Elon Musk's cooperation and/or technical relationships with other countries is worthy of being looked at. Whether or not he is doing anything inappropriate, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that it's worth being looked at. But that's all I'll say.
I missed those, so that's great. He wants to look at Elon.
Yeah, he wants to look at Elon, and
he cured cancer. Wow.
Cancer.
Man, I mean, I told you he's going to reveal the apocalypse or whatever.
Build back better, man. That's when it happens. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Thank you, Jonathan F. Okay, we got something here from Lloyd V. Lloyd V is back. And wait, is this from last episode? No, this is from this episode, correct?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, what happened to it? My file is missing. Uh-oh, that's not good.
Oh, great. Well, I'll read this while you find the file. So this comes from Lloyd V., the Canary Cry Dutchman, says, Dear Basil and Daddy Gons, in the attachment, you'll find an ISO of the song Dust in a Baggie by Billy Strings. Ooh, sounds like Hunter Biden. I thought this could be used as a jingle bumper for Hunter Biden. Ah, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, right. Okay.
The lyrics of the ISO are as follows. I used my only phone call to contact my daddy. Got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. Yeah, that sounds like Hunter. Yeah. I hope you'll find it useful. God bless Lloyd V. and the family. Thank you, Lloyd V. and the family. Appreciate it very much.
Lloyd V., did he come in with the email?
It's in the email.
Okay. Sorry, I spent all that time opening the other doc.
Oh, yeah.
Opening the email.
Yeah, well, that's Lloyd's fault. Go to canarycry.art next time, Mr. Lloyd V. But thank you. Mostly because now when it comes in through there, it's in a nice spreadsheet, and we check the spreadsheet, and we got all the art right there. And no longer do we have to shuffle through the email box that has probably 250,000 unread emails. So there you go. Did you find it?
I did. I'm just waiting for things to load,
I could probably play it from my side. We finally figured out where I might be able to play it from my side, folks. Let's give it a go.
We hear nothing.
That's not coming to you, is it?
No.
Okay, hold on.
I'm still waiting for this to load.
Okay, let's see if I can figure it out before Gonza's works. Here I go. This is okay, here we go. It's going to work. It's going to work.
I used my only phone call to contact my daddy. Got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie.
Did you hear it?
I did hear it. That was great.
Okay, good. That's very good. That is very good. I was not expecting. There's something about the fact that he's our Canary Cry Dutchman. I thought it was going to be kind of like a Euro punk type of vibe. And maybe it was the context or the lyrics talking about going to jail, calling your daddy, dust in a baggie. That was going to be very sort of Euro grunge, but delightfully surprised. Thank you very much, Lloyd V.
Thank you, Lloyd V. We want some more deep fakes, especially because they got the deep fake detectors now. So let's try to fool some deep fake detectors.
Well, I want the bluegrass, so maybe you got to do some bluegrass deep fakes.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much for all the audio production here. We're going to move on to art.
One art, please.
Start with Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
He says, peace for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Proverbs 4:18. The path of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until midday. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. And it's Dove.
Yeah, and this is great. We've got a beautiful skyline. I'm not exactly sure what city it is. Some big, shiny city. At dusk, it looks like. You got the orange on the horizon. The sun is rising. We've got a cute little cartoon sun with a big old gap-toothed smile. And up in the sky, it says the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And just as a reminder, we got news.
We do?
We got Sir Dove news.
Ooh, we do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we got Sir Dove news. The baby has been had.
Baby born.
I repeat, the canary is in the nest. We've got another little canarian. Yes, he let us know today at 2:22 a.m. Whoa. Well, yeah, there's a new baby, so he told us in the middle of the night. Caught Monday's episode and realized I never gave Yins a baby update. The baby is here, though, another little canary in the flock. And her and Mama are healthy. Thank you guys and the producers for all the prayers.
So it's a girl.
It's a girl. We've got a girl, everybody.
Women roll.
Don't let Newsom talk to her, though. Keep her far away from Newsom.
Far away. Well, congratulations to the whole Dove clan there. And man, Sir Dove has really been diligent about sending in his artwork ahead of time. He's a wise and industrious and a righteous man. Thank you, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. All right. We have a microfiction.
Yep, just a quick mention. Runk Smash was in the chat and mentioned, sorry, y'all know McFick. Excellent, but at times suck. So no worries. Runk Smash got the message.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
This one is from Stephen S.
The UN excluded the Gungandan robo-rhino from the AI for Good Global Summit due to its recent violent use to squash the protests in Fredonia. President Dr. Malcontent exclaimed, "This proves Afro-racism thrives, even in technology."
Dr. Malcontent.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we need to put together a kid's book. That's really where the moneymaker is, the kids'
I
books.
think specifically Stephen S's the Stephen S-verse that he's created in the microfiction, I think would be conducive specifically to a children's book.
Yeah.
I mean that in a positive way, of course. He's got lots of very colorful, kind of wacky characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Runk Smash is like very, very cool, very, very dramatic, very sort of fantasy, hardcore, fun way. Stephen S really does have this sort of kind of cartoonish setup. Again, I mean that in a good way. So that might be fun, Stephen S. Runk Smash has done this for us, and we appreciate it very much. But Stephen S., if you wanted to compile as many of these suckers as you could and put them into one document, send them over. Seeing them all at once is a very interesting experience, and it sometimes inspires the producers to make something out of it. So thank you very much either way.
Yep, thank you. All right. That is it for the producers coming in with their talents.
Love it. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, robo-rhinos might have their hands full with our next story, but I want to remind everybody, if you're a talented person or even maybe a not so talented person, if you're just creative in any way, you can create something for the show, then go to canarycry.art to upload it. That's the best way to do it. It could be visual, could be audible, could be some sort of four-dimensional hologram, whatever your thing is. We'll put it on the show. Or if you've got an article you'd like us to read for the show, a great thing to do is to go to canarycry.report. and tell us about it there. Again, spreadsheets, baby. Still the only thing keeping us alive right now. So there you go. Or you can learn more about all of this at canarycry.support.
Yep. Here we go. Final story.
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
Cocaine.
You could almost play the file that Lloyd V just sent in for this one.
The cocaine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't get it ready because I didn't know. But yeah, here we go. Hunter Biden.
I use my old phone call to contact my daddy. Got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie.
Just picture
That's
sharks.
right.
Sharks singing that.
It's not just Hunter. LiveScience.com. Cocaine sharks off Florida may be feasting on dumped bales of drugs. Cocaine sharks is a real term that has now been uttered by scientists, therefore by podcasters. Cocaine sharks off Florida may be feasting. I love this because it gives, the impression that there is a possibility that there are naturally occurring cocaine sharks. These cocaine sharks just may happen to be eating cocaine off the Florida coast. For decades, huge bundles of cocaine have washed up on Florida beaches, having been smuggled from South and Central America. Hauls are often dumped at sea, both to give smugglers and evade law enforcement, and currents and tides push them to shore. In June, the U.S. Coast Guard seized over 14,100 pounds of cocaine in the Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean, with an estimated value of $186 million.
Ooh.
Pretty good. With so much cocaine entering the waters, Tom the Blowfish Herd wanted to find out whether the thousands of sharks off Florida were ingesting the dumped narcotics, and if so, whether the drugs were having any impact on them. So this is, number one, this is very silly, okay? They did not discover cocaine sharks and then figure out where the sharks were getting the drugs. This man, Tom Hurd, had a hypothesis. Look, we talk about science a lot here, folks, and the problem with science nowadays is they're not doing the scientific method correctly. You need a hypothesis in order to correctly do science. And so often now there's no hypothesizing before experimentation. But not Tom, the Blowfish Herd, had a hypothesis. Surely there are cocaine sharks. That is his hypothesis. There must be cocaine sharks, and I will find them and bring them to justice. And that's exactly what he did. In Cocaine Sharks, which is a part of Discovery's Shark Week, Hurd and University of Florida environmentalist scientist Tracy Fanara, I'm sure they did, and I'm sure it was all very interesting. And when was the last time you watched Shark Week, Guns?
1998. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while.
That sounds about right.
It does.
I think mine was like 2000, maybe 2010 was the last time I caught a Shark Week.
Internet kind of killed Shark Week. It became Shark all the time whenever you want.
Yeah, you can watch. Why are you excited about Shark Week when you can watch sharks any day of the week, all year long? Cocaine shark. They're really stepping it up. So they designed 3 experiments to see how sharks react to a bale of cocaine dropped in the water.
Yeah.
I'll summarize for you. They dropped bales of cocaine in the water, and the sharks ate it. There you go. There's the experiment. It worked. They also did a lot of other things, but that was basically it. Hurd said that what they uncovered doesn't necessarily show that sharks in Florida are consuming cocaine. Okay, settle down. A multitude of factors could explain the behavior observed during filming. Oh, yeah, I skipped a bit, but the behavior that they're talking about, they're calling it crazy brain. Cocaine shark crazy brain.
Okay,
and
what happens? What do they do?
Hypothesizing that it's from cocaine. The sharks are seen going wild, is kind of what they say here.
Yeah, they go wild too.
These sharks gone wild.
Cocaine sharks featured on Sharks Gone Wild. Man,
a
this
quote,
is,
I think we have got a potential scenario of what it may look like if you gave sharks cocaine. Heard said in the film, quote, we gave them what I think is the next best thing. It set their brains aflame.
Oh
it was crazy. That's where they get the term crazy brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We got cocaine shark. What do we need next? Shroom shark.
We got cocaine shark.
Shroom shark.
We've got DMT jellyfish. DMT octopus.
Maybe, yeah. Something like that.
Is that a little too on the nose, you think?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's keep it to the sharks. Let's just give all the drugs to sharks.
I mean, Sharknado, they made their impact. I think sharks deserve, or maybe dolphins, DMT dolphins.
DMT dolphins, cocaine sharks.
Cocaine sharks.
Yeah,
we'll battle it out.
That's the thing. Now, of course, a little bit of this is marketing, stemming from the success of Cocaine Bear. What's better than a cocaine bear is a cocaine shark.
Yeah.
And then what's better than a cocaine shark? You said it, cocaine shark tornado. And so, climate change, Gons, this is not the craziest thing that we've ever heard of. There could be a climate change activated cocaine sharknado, and it would make landfall in Florida, which would cause jubilation in sort of liberal media. Somehow they would blame Ron DeSantis and his.
That would be, he would be blamed for the, yeah.
There's Ron DeSantis. Due to Ron DeSantis's anti-trans policies, a cocaine sharknado has made landfall in Miami, and liberals, another reason why you should not go to Florida. I was talking to somebody, a good liberal, a real strong good liberal, the real kind, like the kind who thinks that guns shoot by themselves, and cocaine sharks were invented by Ron DeSantis to eat trans people. And they were serious. They were very serious about never going to Florida. They said, I'm never going to Florida. I'm not doing it. It's my protest. Like, okay, have you ever been to Florida? You're like, no, but I'm not going. Okay. I think they're going to be fine without you, my friend. But good, whatever makes you feel good. But even better now, nobody should go cocaine sharks. Maybe it was the shark that left the cocaine in the White House.
It's either the sharks or Mitch McConnell. I mean, it was really, we're down to a few people here.
They definitely gave Mitch McConnell something to get him back out
cocaine,
there.
bro.
Could have been
Shark
cocaine.
ticket. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think? So we're news analysts, analysts, and deconstructionists, Gons. It's our job.
Yeah.
What do you think is the deal with all the cocaine in the media recently?
It probably has to do with some kind of economic warfare. Maybe, I don't know, because it's always, if it was no big deal, it's no big deal. But the fact that they found a bag in the White House a few weeks ago and made the news, and it created speculation online about who it belongs to and all that stuff.
But you're right, though, because one half of the conversation was, yeah, it's Hunter Biden's cocaine.
Yeah, everybody.
The president's son is a drug addict, and it's his cocaine. And the other half of the conversation was, who cares? There's a lot of who cares that there's cocaine.
Yeah.
In the White House. It was either who cares or of course there's cocaine in the White House. Why? It's called the White House, for God's sake. Of course there is cocaine in the White House.
Well, plus, I think it's also setting up a full throttle mental health crisis for whether because a politician is old or because they're under a lot of stress and they're being forced to turn to drugs like cocaine to feel something or whatever it may be.
Just stay alert, I think, is the idea.
Sure, but yeah, it could be something like that where they're just preparing people for the revelation that a lot of politicians are high on coke or meth or something.
Yeah, see, I don't even think that's going to be a revelation. I would be surprised if all these guys weren't on cocaine. you know? Because we also had, what was his name? Who was that young politician who came out? He was in Congress or something. He came out and he was on a podcast and he said, yes, since being in Congress, I've been invited to orgies where everybody's doing cocaine.
Madison
with other.
Cawthorn.
Was that the one?
Was it the guy? He's the guy in the wheelchair.
The guy, yeah. Okay, I didn't know if it was the same guy or not, but yeah, he came out and was saying like, yeah, all these Congress people are doing cocaine and going to orgies. That's just like a thing you do. So it would not surprise me one bit if to find out that like cocaine use was just rampant in Washington, D.C., in the White House itself. And that's even going too far. We know it is. We've seen it. We've seen Hunter Biden on the 4th of July. We know there's cocaine in the warehouse, in the White House. I think it might be a little bit connected to similar movement as like the, first of all, just the normalization of all drugs. Decriminalization being one thing that I personally support as a good libertarian, but normalization being a different monster altogether. Because of course you've got the psychedelic movement with the therapeutic uses. You've got marijuana, recreational marijuana now legal in almost every state, which seems so antiquated now to think that it was just a few years ago that the medical marijuana thing was such a big news story. Now it's just everywhere. So maybe cocaine's next on the list.
Yeah, if they can commoditize
a pretty aggressive normalization for cocaine.
Well, we were entering the transparent era, and so a lot of the U.S. Overseas import-export businesses, cocaine's a big one. So if they can legalize it and they can continue to extract the financial...
You mean for the CIA?
For the CIA,
specifically?
Yeah,
right.
So,
I mean,
it just makes sense.
The government's been selling cocaine for decades. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But now, of course, it's been sort of the black market, behind the scenes type of thing. But now they can just come out in the open and say, we got all the coke.
Fentanyl playing a role in that as well. The fentanyl crisis, fentanyl getting put in all this cocaine, killing kids.
That could be the CIA saying like, hey, China's attacking the U.S. and they're doing it through fentanyl. They're mixing into our supply of the coke. We're not going to accept that. It's on China. It's on China. We're going to bring back cocaine. It's going to be purer than ever.
Yeah, I was thinking more like, don't buy your cocaine from China or Colombia. Get your cocaine from us.
Yeah,
the CIA. We'll give you the good stuff. We won't put fentanyl. The CIA cares about your kids. They will not put fentanyl in the cocaine. Yeah. Well, we do know that cocaine sharks, they are coming for you Floridians. Make it to shore. But something tells me the meth gators have been running rampant for quite some time.
You know what I'm most worried about? It's cocaine orb.
Cocaine orb.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Those
that
orbs.
Thing is it is kind of psychedelic. You could do DMT orb.
Yeah.
You stare into the orb, experience. You get hypnotized. A little poof of smoke gets blown out of the orb
hole,
and you have an ecstatic vision of a future technocratic utopia. And it's kind of like a Mercer box mixed with what is the other thing called? Yeah, there you go. Mercer box necrocapitalism. All right, I think we did it. You good?
Yep. Good.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. I want to thank our Clippies real quick. Clippies. Clip. Go Clip.
Clipping all those videos. Thanks.
That's right. Go follow the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. And I know I've said this so many times recently. We're going to put it on Rumble. It's just, we're losing our minds over here. We're trying. Thanks to our timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yeah, the time stampers. That's a good example. Another good example of people donating their time to the show to put value back in. And I want to thank Morgan E. for doing the timestamps for episode 648.
Thank you very much, Morgan E. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And thanks to Jam for the links. Thanks to Nancy.
Yep, Nancy
sent
link.
some in too. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you to Clank for everything you do.
Thank you, Clank.
And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with... Look, you know the deal. Look. Listen to me. We got to get this word out for the show. On a serious note, we really need somebody to like be a manager for us, because there's very serious things we need to do, like go on other podcasts and get guests on our podcast, and it's a lot of work that we're not able to do right now. So if somebody out there has always wanted to become a podcast talent manager, this is your moment. Send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. This is what you've been waiting for. We need you to be our talent manager. But on another note, you want to get the word out about this show because it's your duty as an American. I need you to go full Liam Neeson. Catch a plane down to Buenos Aires. Fight your way through the jungles of the Amazon, where these cocaine guys are making all the good stuff. Steal all the cocaine. Feed all of it to sharks. All the cocaine to all the sharks. See, this is what I have a problem with. Cocaine shark shouldn't be a differentiation because all sharks should automatically be on cocaine.
Okay.
It's the only way. It's the only way that people are finally going to tune in to the most important podcast, and that's Canary Cry News Talk. Only. Let's learn from our elite lizard overlords. You got to create a disaster and then present the solution. So if you, dear Canarians, get out there, get all the cocaine you can, throw it into the ocean, give those cocaine sharks crazy brain, it will become such a global disaster that the only answer to save humanity from this new threat that is threatening our babies, our children, it's threatening grandma. There will be empty chairs at Thanksgiving this year if we do not fight the cocaine sharks by listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Now, I know this is a lot to ask, but some of you have been listening for a lot of years and you've never produced a show. And I think you know this is your moment. This is your moment. You're realizing how you can bring value to the show. Steal all the cocaine in the world, throw it into the ocean, and humanity will have no choice but to listen to this show. That's just one way you can do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you want. But we call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Just ask Noah. Gandhi, any last words?
Thank you, all the listeners who make it till the end. You are a special bunch.
And thank you to The Spirit Man Lives on YouTube, who, during my suggestion about cocaine sharks, says, I'm down. My body is ready. So The Spirit Man Lives. Good luck to you, soldier. Do not get eaten by the cocaine sharks. There are some suggestions for pop rocks. Exploding cocaine sharks. Give them cocaine, give them pop rocks. Boom. Number one
Mentos,
podcast in the world.
Mentos and beer?
Mentos. Yeah, that could do it. Mentos and Coca-Cola. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. Until then, think outside the cage.
hunt you down and make you pay.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
It will kill.
They love killing.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Toilets! Toilets!
Feed him more.
They love killing.
Give me a break.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm... Gons. I am so hot. So hot.
Los caminos del necrocapitalismo, si son como yo pensaba, si son como imaginaba, como lo decía Marx. Los caminos del necrocapitalismo, si son como yo pensaba, si son como imaginaba, yo no encuentro la salida. ¡Ah!
Of charm. Come on, man, you're just an arm. Whoa. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now. Take my girl. I'm history. You're nuts and bolts, perhaps 33 megavolts. Whoa. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now. Enslave my kids and bug a new career. Don't you take her, it's not the year. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Take my girl now. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now. Keep the cameras on in my people's zoo.
This is not about freedom or personal
choice. Keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. They all want to shoot their dad.
Ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
They all want to share their dad.
Keep the up,
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye. They love killing.
Canary cry like a